Mythological criticism studies the repeated universal patterns in literature by integrating insights from anthropology, psychology, history, and comparative religion. It explains how authors use myths and symbols shared across cultures to express fundamental human experiences. A key concept in this approach is the archetype, introduced by Carl Jung, which refers to universal symbols, characters, or situations rooted in the collective unconscious. A shared mental structure that exists beneath individual consciousness and shapes how readers understand literary meaning. The idea of an archetype can be confusing at first, so it helps to simplify it. For now, think of an archetype as a repeating pattern. Human life has always been extremely complex, yet early humans have far fewer tools than we do today. Without science or formal knowledge, they relied mainly on storytelling to make sense of the world around them. Through these stories, archetypes gradually develop. These patterns are very old, possibly the earliest ways humans have understood reality. They were passed down through stories to guide future generations, even though the storytellers themselves may not have been fully aware of what they were creating. What defines archetypes is that they appear across many cultures and historical periods. Even societies that never interacted with one another develop similar archetypal patterns, showing how universal these ideas are.
Let's look at two examples to understand how archetype work. The first is the wise old man archetype. This character appears in many hero stories as a mentor who guides the hero and helps him accomplish things he could not do alone. Version of this archetype exists in Greek, Roman, Indian, African, Native American, and many other myth traditions. What's striking is that many of these cultures had no contact with one another and are separated by thousands of years. To explain this, Carl Jung proposed the idea of the collective unconscious, a shared, inherited layer of the human mind that shapes the symbols and stories we created. While this may sound mystical, it becomes clearer when we examine another example. The second example is the petrification archetype, where a creature turns people into stone. Figures like Medusa, the basilisks, and the cockatrice come from different cultures and time periods, yet share the same symbolic power. The repetition of this idea across unrelated myths suggests that these images come from deep, universal patterns within the human psyche.
To understand why this archetype exists, we can look at evolutionary psychology. When early humans encountered a deadly animal such as a bear, they had three basic responses: fight, flee, or freeze. The first instinct was often to freeze to pause and resist the danger. Staying still could mean survival. Over time, this reaction became symbolically linked to images of stone or statues, immobility as protection. Our ancestors passed on this understanding through stories. These stories were not just lessons for survival, but ways of making sense of a dangerous and complex world. This is where the idea of the collective unconscious becomes meaningful. Humans share a common ancestry, and with it, inherited patterns of behavior and ways of understanding reality through myth and archetype. These patterns developed over thousands of years because survival depended on transmitting them effectively.
As Jordan Peterson explains, archetypes reflect fundamental human behaviors. When reading stories, we can look for these patterns and ask what aspects of human nature they represent, learning not only about the story but about ourselves.